Welcome to The Guide. It's what you should know for where you want to go, what you didn't know for where you are, and what you can prevent from what you could learn. So why not learn from each other, together, here on The Guide. So Nyma, obviously I've heard so much about you. You know, Ottawa is very small, but when people really pursue their creativity in the city, you hear about it. So we've been hearing about you, your covers, your music, getting recognized, and all of that is just fascinating to me. But I want to know who you were prior to all of this. Like, how did this person come about?
So prior to Nema, prior to even starting my Afrobeats journey, I was in university doing my Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So I was in Barrie, and then one day, I guess, I think I was like in a bad mood. I think someone did something to me. And I was like, you know what, like I need to put this in a song. And I had always like dreamed of Afrobeats and like, I used to sing R&B and all like ballads and things, but Afrobeats was always in the back of my mind. But that day I chose Afrobeats and I wrote a song Wavy under Olivia. I was going by Olivia.
Yes.
And then I guess the rest is history.
I remember Wavy. Like, I remember when Wavy came out and everybody was posting you on the story and I'm like, who's this Olivia girl? And I turn on the music video and you're just doing your thing. You're with your friends singing, I'm so wavy, you know, I'm ready, all these things. And I'm just like, who are you? But this song as a starter was one that's like, it was really good for a first song. So how did that creativity come about? You know, you had the whole beach theme going on. You're talking about God doing your thing. Like, what is that about?
It started with a beat I found online.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't really work with any producers?
No, I found the beat online, and then I was working with Omar. He's from Toronto, but Omar, and he did the audio engineering and like helped my vision come to life, basically. And then it was my first single, so I was like, video, why not?
Yeah.
And then so I worked with Ennie, and he kind of helped me come up with the whole storyline with the volleyball teams, and that was kind of like the whole competition, but like showing off that like I'm strong and like kind of
I loved it. I feel like it really, like, if you don't know who you are, you would look at the video and be like, oh, this girl's a fun girl. Like, she's really about her stuff. So why the name change from Olivia to Nema?
Honestly, it's not that deep. It's just the fact that like when I put out Wavy, it was like so hard for people to find my music under Olivia because there's so many people going by that name. So like one day I just sat down and I was like, nah, like we're changing this before, you know, because I'm gonna put out more music and I'm like, I have one song out, this is the perfect time to just change it. And so me and my friends sat down, we put together like different combinations of my two middle names, my two African middle names. And then the one that stood out was Nema because of the meaning behind it, which is blessing. And I want that to be like my story kind of thing.
That's really nice. I noticed that within your music, you really have some type of consistency going on. You know, you're talking about, you know, you incorporate God here and there, but you're talking a lot about love, you know, especially with your other single, No Matter. Yeah. I watched the video and I'm like, this is like, it's giving, you know? You're talking about no matter, you know, this is how I'm supposed to be treated. So is there a reason why you decided to go to that type of field when it comes to music?
I don't know, like, I've always been very imaginative when it comes to love. So I think that's where the whole, like, the writing part about love is very easy for me because I've always been imaginative in that way. And No Matter, I think, now that you're asking, No Matter was actually kind of based off a true story, but obviously like exaggerated a little bit. But that whole like dreamy type of love and like that love that you imagine as a little girl with your husband and like, you know, that kind of thing.
That you could tell in the video, I felt like it was very organic. So you could kind of tell that this comes from a different, you know, it might come from a true story. But I really love the creativity behind it, how you were so comfortable. And that's another thing that I noticed in your music. You're so comfortable. And I feel like that also has to do with the type of, how do I say? The type of music that you chose to portray yourself. You see, you have Afro beats, you're doing love songs. We know a little bit more about you, but how did you find your sound, you know?
I think like, I didn't go looking for it. I think like it was always in me, because like from a child, I remember my dad used to play Afro beats all the time, like Two-Face and like, those are the people that I grew up listening to. So I think it just came naturally. And like even that day when I said I sat down and wrote that song, it was like, I didn't say, okay, I'm doing Afro beats. I don't know, it just was like Afro beats. That's the only thing I'm gonna write to right now. And I think it was just always meant to be like that.
It was fitting. Like I feel like it's very, very fitting. And you know, you're doing your thing. And I feel like one thing too is like when you're in your lane and you're doing what it is that's meant for you, it gets noticed. And you've been getting noticed by like mainstream artists. Like I'm just, how did that happen? Like, I think I saw Davido one time. I'm like, Davido? Yeah. What? Like, how did that, like, just tell me about that.
It definitely was not planned. Like the whole thing that started up this whole like thing of me being consistent and stuff with my music was when I came back from university. It was a pandemic. Like I wanted to take music seriously, but I was like, there's no one open to record me or anything. So I started teaching myself how to record. So I recorded my first cover, and it wasn't even meant to, no one was meant to hear that. Like it was just supposed to be on my laptop, like practice editing vocals. But then I was like, this is actually good. Like let me record a video to it. And then I dropped it, and the response was really good. So that was Sumami. I don't know if you've seen that cover. But then after that one, I just kept making covers. And then I dropped a single tomorrow morning.
And that one, oh my God, I love it.
Thank you. And then after that, I took a break from my own music and was like, let me just go back into the covers, build more momentum, build my fan base. Right? Exactly. And that's when I did the Jawa cover. I was not expecting Davido to see it. I remember I posted it at like, it was like midnight or 1 a.m. in the morning, because I was like, I don't need anyone to see this. But people started commenting, tagging him, and then by morning, I was on my phone, I remember, because I was like, oh, like, so many people are tagging him. And I saw it actually happen. I was like, you know when you see the comments? Like, it was like crazy Davido. I was like, that's fake. That's a fake account. That's a fake account. And then I clicked it, and I saw like the verified thing status. I was freaking out. I
was freaking out, because I was just like, I remember that day, because I was on Instagram, as we all do, and everybody was just posting you, like everyone. And I had heard, like I've seen your covers before, so I know you're good. So, you know, I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm like, oh, she dropped a new cover, it's about to be good. And then I see Davido reposted you, and I'm like, this girl got Davido to repost her. Like, what? So then I literally go back to the video, and I'm like, nah, that makes sense that it reached, like you do stuff with such excellence. Like I honestly, and it's like something that I've noticed since before, like back in 2017, your YouTube, the covers, it's like you really took time with your mashups and all that stuff. And honestly, to me, I want to know why. Not why, obviously I know you want to do stuff with excellence, but you've kind of been consistent with that since the beginning. So tell us a bit about that and why you took it so serious, even when nobody really knew who you were at the time.
I think it's just always been something that I was brought up, like it was those are my roots, and like always, like if you're gonna do something, like do it with everything you have. Like, even if no one's gonna see it, like, even if you don't get recognition, like, just do it because it's your work and your name's going on it. And so I think that's where the power came from.
Yo, when you have a gift, you have a gift, honestly. And you've really been working towards that, and you've been really consistent this year too. In 2020, you dropped your EP, your album. I want to know about that, because that was like, it was Truly Nema, right? Yeah. So you dropped your album, Truly Nema. It's kind of like an introduction of who you are. And the music in there was very telling of you. So I want to know a bit about that. Like, why did you choose now, out of all times, to do this like project?
It was supposed to be a strategic move. I did a cover to a song, and the artist actually commented. He commented, I owe you a verse. Oh. And like, it was actually a really big artist.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, like, if he's gonna give me a verse, I have all these other songs. I might as well use that to like push it forward. Long story short, I didn't end up getting the verse from the artist yet, but I was like, I have this whole project and like, I think it's really good, so might as well put it up, add to my catalog, and that's how Truly.
Honestly, I really love that, and I love that you have like a catchiness to your song. You see, you had "I'm So Ready." You could just be going about your day and just sing, "Oh, I'm so ready," and then tomorrow morning, tomorrow morning, like you'll just be in your day, and I'm like, I love how catchy you are. Why do you feel like why do you have that in your music? Like, is that something that you felt like was a statement, or?
I think it's extremely important, especially like with Afro beats, is like to make your statement and make sure people remember
like your
signature
song. Like, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Just to make people remember my music.
Okay. No, I love that. Honestly, I love that. I think that honestly what you're doing is just so great. I need to know, and I'm pretty sure you have some supporters that want to know, what is next for Nema?
So what is next for me? Honestly, we're taking it day by day, but you can definitely expect a couple performances, which I'll announce on my social media. My acoustic version of some of the songs to my EP, and maybe a couple unreleased. And then, we'll take it from there.
I love that. I think one thing too, I'm gonna add this, I love how you're so consistent with how you started. I find that a lot of times like artists will start a certain way and then just move and be like, no, this is me now. But you stay so grounded to how you started. It's very like admirable, to be very honest, which has me thinking like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself still like sticking to the covers? Do you see yourself doing more? Like, what does that look like?
I'm very spiritual in the sense that like I go based on how I feel like at the time. I think that if it's beneficial to me in the future, or if I feel like that's the vibe later, I'll do more covers. But honestly, I just want to follow what God's plan is for my career, because I know He has a plan that's like, I don't even know what it is. But I'm just gonna keep being consistent.
I love that for you, honestly. There's a lot of people that watch the interviews and they may be in the same path as you or wanting to get into that path. What's some advice that you could give to someone that's looking to become an artist or just step into that?
I think like the main thing that I struggled with when I started was like overthinking and like getting in my own head. And the one thing that helped me push myself to actually do music is like remembering my faith and that like I have a purpose and I have like an end goal, and no matter what that end goal is, you have to start somewhere. And so like just starting and knowing that no matter what, your purpose is definitely what helped me.
I love that. I feel like a lot of times you you get scared a little bit. So it's like, am I supposed to do this? Should I start? Yeah. But I think honestly, you're so right. Like starting is really the way to go. Well, I absolutely enjoyed this conversation with you. I loved meeting you, and I'm just excited for what's next for you.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you too. Thank you for having me.
Next time on The Guide. Album. And what about the name of the album? Because Soul for Sale. Yeah. How did you come up with that name?
To be honest, Soul for Sale, the real meaning behind that is it's kind of deep, you know what I mean?